Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we're going to take a closer look at the GX550, particularly the hybrid setup. This here is the normal or twin turbo V6 setup with its twin turbo V6 engine. This is the Overtrail edition, but here you can see the GX550 with a 2.4 turbocharged hybrid system. Particularly the hybrid battery is out back here in the back near the trunk area or third row area. So this is going to be the hybrid GX550 setup. It's a turbo 4 again. It's going to get more power than the GX460 that's currently out with its V8 engine. So again, here's the twin turbo V6 setup. And here's the hybrid setup. So again, we're going to just kind of, in no particular order, go over some of these neat features. Here's the approach and departure angles. And as you can see, they are improved over the GX460. That's pretty much all you need to know as far as these angles go. They're just improved overall. All right, here's the ladder frame, and you can see, we zoom in a little bit, that these are the new tailor welded blanks. These seams here are not lap welds. They are thicker pieces of metal butt welded up against thinner pieces of metal. So these are, again, those aren't lap welds that add a bunch of weight. These are butt welded, laser welded, streamlines everything. The frame looks a lot cleaner than the current GX460 frame with all of its lap welds. So this is interesting stuff, to say the least. All right, here we could see the tires on the GX550. Now, a lot of people have said, well, let me just show you. And I know I'm rambling here. This is without the 33-inch tires in the Overtrail edition. This is the Overtrail. The bottom line here is there's room for big tires, and no body modifications had to be done to fit these big tires in. As you can see on the street version, they just put bigger wheels in, but the wheel well is all the same. A lot of people thought that they had to take out the back seats in the Overtrail edition in order to fit the bigger tires, but that's simply not true, as you can see from those images. All right, let's look at the frame. Some of the frame improvements here. Some of these are surprising because I thought the doors would be aluminum, but as we can see, the hood is aluminum. The around where you close the doors, this blue stuff is high tensile steel, but the roof is steel, and the fenders and doors are steel, which is surprising. I thought those might be aluminum, but that's simply not the case. Now, here's a look at the two engines. Here we see the big turbo V6 with the 10-speed transmission and transfer case / Torsen C-type center differential. And then here we see the new turbo 4-cylinder setup, the 2.4 4-cylinder, which has an electric motor pretty much inside of the, I believe it's an 8-speed transmission, but I'm not exactly sure. This is the same setup that's also going to be on the Toyota Tacoma, as well as the 4Runner. So the 4Runner is basically going to get this. Actually, probably without the hybrid setup, it's just going to get the turbo 4. Maybe they'll have an option to have this in the 4Runner, but this is essentially what the 4Runner's getting. So here's another look at the V6 setup in the GX550, and this is the turbo setup, turbo hybrid, or what Toyota's calling the Turbo Hybrid Max setup for your GX550. All right, let's look at the frame here. So this is the frame of the GX550 Overtrail edition with its big twin turbo V6. And let's go over to the hybrid, and you can clearly see the difference. You can see the battery pack gets moved to the back here. Some associated high voltage wiring. The center of gravity looks to be about the same. The exhaust is a little, as we're going back and forth here, the exhaust is, moved around a little bit. But other than that, there's not much going on. Now keep in mind here that this Hybrid Max system is no joke. It is more powerful again than the outgoing GX460 V8. So this 2.4 turbo with its motor and its battery pack have more horsepower and torque than the current generation GX460 V8. In addition, it's going to get something closer to, let's say, 28 miles per gallon. Obviously, the official numbers aren't released, but it's going to get more MPGs and more. It's just more powerful all around. So you can't argue that it's not going to get more power than your GX460. People will be concerned about reliability, I think, with both engines, because as we can see here, this is the V6 twin turbo, and this is the 2.4 liter turbo hybrid. But they're both Toyota engines. They're not brand new. These engines have been out for a while now, and there's been no reported problems with it. So you're just going to have to trust it. It's a Toyota. All right, let's get into some more nonsensical details. This is looks like there's a power inverter in the back. So if you look here closely, if we zoom in, you can kind of see that the inverter says 400 watts / 100 watts. So I'm assuming with the V6, you're going to get 100 watts because it's not a hybrid. With the 2.4 liter hybrid setup, you're going to get 400 watts. So that's another advantage to getting the 4-cylinder if you're not sure which one to get. Of course, we're going to have to see how Lexus trims all this out. Hopefully they'll do a 2.4 liter Turbo Max Overland trim with the third row. Speaking of the third row, let's get into it. So look here, here's the Overtrail edition. And if you'll notice back here in the floor area, the floor does go down because there's no third row in the Overtrail edition. So you get, I don't know how many, let's call it 6 inches of space, of floor space. So the floor goes down. Let's go back and forth here. See how the floor goes up in the regular trim, and then the floor goes down in the Overtrail trim. So floor's down, floor's up, down, up. This is with the Overtrail second row seats folded down, but then they fold up like that. Down, up. So you get, it's a little weird, but you get some more room. And remember, that floor is deeper. Now, it's going to be kind of hard to do this because I don't have the images stacked up, but this is the Overtrail with no third row, but the second row up here. I'm going to skip 2 images here, and you'll see the regular trim with third row down, second row seat up. Whoop, there we go. Sorry, I don't have these lined, but you can see, even with the third row, and you notice the third row because you can see the seat belts. This is the regular trim, and when I say regular, I just mean not the Overtrail. And I know I'm rambling, so just bear with me. We're just going through this casually. But you can see with the third row down, you still got tons of room back here. So there's, again, I'm going to argue that that extra 6 inches or whatever you save of extra floor space down here at the bottom doesn't make that much of a difference, and that they should have put the third seat in the Overtrail edition. But we'll get to that whenever. All right, the something cool here, the auto park feature here. So if you look up here, the P button, that's I know new cars have this, but the old GX didn't, and you had to push a foot brake, and that's just a pain in the butt. Electronic parking brakes are where it's at. They just, you go in the park, and then the e-brake or parking brake goes on, and you're done. It also has the hold feature. So if you're in a McDonald's drive-through or whatever, Starbucks, whatever you do, and you could just take your foot off the gas, once you put the brake on, it'll keep the brake on until you hit the accelerator again. So I know these features are on other cars. This is just new to the GX, and I think that it's neat and noteworthy, especially that electronic parking brake. I forget if we went over the sunroof, but there's the big one, and there's the small one. I'm assuming the big one does not open. The small one does open. So pretty neat there. It's up to you if you like it or not. Let's see, what do we miss here? Not much. I think we got everything. All right, that's pretty much it. Let's talk a minute about these two setups here. I just want to say that we don't see too much difference here with the center of gravity or way things are positioned. Everything looks neat and tidy between the V6 and the 4-cylinder GX550 as far as the physical layout of things. But again, I will argue, if you think this is a Mickey Mouse type of turbo 4-cylinder engine, again, it's more powerful than the current generation GX460 V8. Let that sink in. Plus, you're going to get 28 miles a gallon. So imagine if you could have current GX460 V8 power with let's even go on the crazy low range. Let's say it only gets 20 miles a gallon. That's still better than the 14 miles a gallon that the GX460 currently gets, and you're getting more power. Realistically, it might honestly get 28 miles a gallon. We'll have to wait and see what Lexus says. The only question is reliability, and do you want that extra power? Now, in my opinion, off-roading is a slow motion thing, and I'm plenty happy with the V8 power in the GX460. So if this thing makes more power than the current generation V8 and gets better gas mileage, I'm happy. I'm not concerned about the reliability at all, but it's fair to, it's fair when people say they're concerned about the reliability, because the complexity certainly is there. The time will tell, but it's Toyota. They have a reputation for proving people wrong and testing things to 1,000,000 miles and proving people wrong. So their entire reputation is based upon reliability. So it's unlikely that they're going to screw this up. But again, time will tell. Now, lastly, before I end my rambling here, and I know I'm rambling, we're just having a rambling time. Before I go, I want to say that the name of the game with this 4-cylinder engine that you're looking at here, that's the 4-cylinder, right? I'm getting them mixed up. Yeah, that's the V6. Is the 4-cylinder, right? Okay, the name of the game with this 4-banger here, this turbo 4-banger, this hybrid, is what Toyota and even other manufacturers today are calling drive force. So it's no longer about horsepower and torque. Though this turbo 4 gets 465 foot-pounds of torque and 326 in horsepower. So this thing is absolutely ridiculous as far as torque is concerned. Now, getting back to drive force, what I was saying is Toyota recognizes that the days of horsepower and torque numbers mean nothing anymore. That's people, does it have torque? How much horsepower does it have? Blah, blah, blah. Excuse me. They realize that people are interested in what Toyota calls drive force. In other words, when you put your foot to the pedal, is the car going to take off and do what you want very aggressively and forcefully? And that's what they're after. That's what they call drive force. So as far as this Turbo 4 and a GX is concerned, it has a tremendous amount of drive force. Most people in a traditional horsepower torque type of vehicle, they're never going to put their car in the RPM range of peak horsepower and torque anyway. So the numbers don't even mean anything. So, and I know I'm rambling here, but my point is modern car manufacturing now, or engineering as far as power, is concerned with drive force. So the sense of the car doing what you want powerfully and forcefully at your command, and very responsively. I hope that made sense. If none of that babbling made any sort of sense, it's Toyota knows what you want, and that's they want you want the car to get out of its own way at all times, right? Okay, got it. The 2.4 liter will deliver that. The only question is which do you want? More power or even more power? Both will be hits. Reliability won't be a concern, but again, that's just my 2 cents. If you found this video helpful, please remember to like and subscribe. Thank you, and have a great day.